Welcome back to part 2 of our chat with Deng Adut, a criminal defence lawyer who runs a successful Western Suburbs law practice, is a human rights activist, and was the 2017 New South Wales Australian of the Year. Good to have you back, Deng.
Thank you, Gary.
Now, if I introduce you like I just did, you might assume that Deng was born into a rich Australian family who put him through university, and he's trying to give back to the less fortunate through the work he's doing as a human rights activist. But if you listen to part 1 of this podcast, you would have heard an amazing story of what Deng experienced in the first 12 years of his life. We left Deng on a battlefield. He'd been shot numerous times, and he was only 12 and had seen things that most people wouldn't or shouldn't experience in life, and you've seen it all by the time that you're 12. And you're doing so without the comfort and support of your family around you. You're in a army where you've been indoctrinated and almost brainwashed to accept that death is nothing to fear and killing is doesn't really come at a price. Talk to us from that point, Deng, at that stage. So the experience you had, you've experienced battle, you've run into, you've run up against machine guns, the bombs going off, people getting shot, people dying. It's not a pretty place, and you're only 12. How do you process that?
Quite hard. I don't even know. I don't even think I can find a word for it myself. Yeah. All I can say is either come with a luck, blessing, or your time didn't come. Yeah. Because where do I find the powers to even comprehend the position I'm in today? I nearly look. My father has 17 boys altogether, and so far about 4 boys left.
Yeah,
and that is how you can put my story together, because I'm just lucky. 4 out of 17 that are alive.
Yeah.
And among these 4 that are alive, one of them has never been to war.
Yeah.
The other one is disabled.
Right.
He's still alive. My brother,
because of war injuries.
He lost his arm.
Yeah.
Lost his arm, so he become he's still alive.
Yeah.
Me and my brother, my younger brother got shot several times as well, and he's a police officer.
Right.
And of course my sister, she's a captain in the police as well in South Sudan. But they experience exactly. They experience some sort of different trauma than mine. My brother was with my mother. He grew up along my mother, and my sister too. So they had a bit of a relationship. They had a bit of a family there before they become opposites in the army. So for them, I don't think they get anything on me. I survive. Think they haven't survived. I have my own tombs back home. My own tombs on my grave that actually was dug next to my father, because my mother was informed that I was dead, and so that how I can comprehend that I'm alive. Okay. Because I had a tomb, and I'm just back now.
And I'm not there.
Yeah, I'm not there, so I'm happy with that.
I must be alive.
Yeah, and just to come back to how I got myself into this place is kind of again a luck. You could call that a luck, because my brother, we were separated.
So you're in hospital after with your injuries?
Yeah, first my brother. I don't remember exact year, but he was coming from Peabody, another town called Peabody, and he was injured, he was wounded, and he went to Ethiopia to get treated. And also, not only treatment, to remove a bullet and go back to war, because the bullet have to be removed and then go back to war. So that's when I met him. I think it was 89, and he got me a red shirt. And I remember I got assaulted, got robbed with that shirt. I never had it again. And that was the last time I saw my brother. I didn't know whether he's alive because he went to the front line until 1990. It was around August 1996. And that's when he came to pick up his in-laws. His mother-in-law, Elizabeth's mother at Luel. And while we were in the camp there, in a military camp in Nottingham, John's brother-in-law, Michael Lake, used to play soccer with me. And the soccer, look, this is how we used to make soccer, just to give a context to the soccer. And so anybody who have a lot of soccer ball can actually think about this. We used to go and collect surgical gloves. Or condoms. And then we blow hair into the condom to become a balloon. And we get a rag from an old shirt. Tied. Like a string, and tied around the ball, go around in a circle until you make your ball now. And that's a bouncing ball.
That's how you play
soccer. That is how you make soccer. That's how you make your ball, and that's how you play soccer. That is where I met Michael Lake. John's brother-in-law. Playing this soccer ball. And he gave me his name. I gave him my name. And then he was the one that actually said, your brother is married to my sister. And I'm like, no, I don't know. I would say, which brother? I say, John. And then I said, John? Because I haven't heard from John for a long time. I say, I say, oh, and he's coming. And then I say, no, go to hell. You're talking crap. And he say, yeah. And then I said, all right, when he come, let me know. Michael's father was a doctor. So their family were well off, general. So education-wise, even the uncle was one of the people that actually helped South Sudan a lot through Norwegian People Aid, because he went to Norway and be able to establish the aids, the food that coming to us in general. So that was Elizabeth's uncle. So Michael then went to his mother, and his mother said, "That gotta be John's younger brother," and said, "Bring him." And Michael, and then another day, because I'm a soldier, he's not. So another day we play soccer, and then say, "Look, my mom said that, can you come down? Maybe you want to meet you." And so I went there, and my mother just looked at my facial features and said, "No, that's your brother.
That's him."
Yeah, that's it. And my brother, I think he came a week later, and then I went. Michael Lake came running. So your brother is at my house, and then I went to John. I had a bullet in my back. Haven't been removed. And I'm still playing soccer. It's life. I'm still doing everything that I can. I had a fresh bullet as well, which already went to my groin and damaged some other part. So John came and recognized me, and John nearly passed out because he knew that I was dead. He knew I have a grave, and it was the first time
seeing a ghost.
Yes, and from there John said, "Okay, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna take you." And then I said, "Good luck. If you get caught, you're gonna get shot, man, because it's people smuggling." And John decided that he will do that, exactly that. So because I was not going to be, he asked for me to be released, even for medical treatment, and the answer was no, can't take him. So he got himself a truck, and there were food, like corns that were in the bags.
Yeah.
Those sacks, look, and the food, I don't know where they were going. They were going to Nine Roost, another military barrack. So at 3 a.m. I was doing my sentry duty.
Yeah.
So I was minding everybody. So I did my sentry duty, and I was feel 10 minutes away from finishing. So I went and get my gun. I put it on my rock. My bed was just a bunch of rocks, and it's your trench. Yeah. Because he's army, you got to sleep in that trench. Otherwise, you don't have time to dig your own trench after that. Yeah. So I went to put a rock that looked like a head of a human, put like a blanket that looked like a human.
Yeah.
And I sneak out, leave everything there, sneak out, went to the truck, sacks up, and then I went underneath the sack.
Smuggled you out?
Yep. And we drove for 8 hours. There was 8 hours.
Yeah.
And there were, I think, 3 checking points that we went through, and we managed.
And you would have been...
I was terrified. But I didn't care.
Yeah.
I didn't care. I was still going to go back. Even if I got caught,
yeah,
there was nothing going to happen to me because...
They'll just send you out to the front line.
Yeah. And I was still a Red Army protected.
Yeah.
So, but my brother didn't have that protection.
Yeah.
So we managed to get to Kenya. Lokashogyo.
Yeah.
At Lokashogyo, they call it Loki. Lokashogyo, that's a place where we got processed and given...
Like a refugee camp.
Yep. It's like a reception.
Yeah.
Refugee reception. We were received there, given our card process, and then we were sent to Kakuma refugee camp.
Yeah.
And we stayed in Kakuma until John's son was born. Yep. Joshua, on 1st of December.
So his wife, Elizabeth.
Yeah, Elizabeth, yeah. 1st of December. And on Sunday, 4 a.m., John was locked up in Kenya. And so I basically received my nephew.
Right, okay.
See my nephew.
Yeah.
And then 2 days later, John was released by Kenyan police. Just basically for no reason. Just
I know you.
Corrupt, yeah.
I know you have a lot of respect for John and how hard he fought to get you guys out and get immigration to Australia. It's a story in itself. There's a book just in that. And if people think that to come to a new country is easy from a war zone like you guys did, I just full credit to John. Like it's how hard he worked to get you across and his wife and child across.
Oh yeah. Look, that brother of mine, he was unselfish to himself. He's just selfish to himself, but to any other people. I couldn't say anything. I couldn't say anything bad.
Yeah.
About him because you don't say anything bad to a dead people anyway. Yeah. But him, I owe him a lot. I think for even going and reunite me with my mom. That's through John. Otherwise, I won't be able to see my mother. So.
You've definitely paid tribute to him in the book. That it certainly comes across there, and it was he managed, and I like the tenacity of him that he just did not take no for an answer, and he got in contact with Bob and Christine Harrison, who sponsored you guys to come across. But just how he did that, like had to travel, I could be wrong here, but hundreds of kilometres just to get to a phone and then travel back and different things like that. It was just an amazing story.
Correct, yeah. John, I remember when we first got back and see my mom.
Yeah.
And my mom used to say, John, amen, he doesn't sit down.
All right. Yeah. Okay.
It's like a person that have eaten a dog feet, like a dog.
Yeah.
Because dog don't stand still, dog gotta go.
Yeah.
John doesn't sit down. He's not an idle man.
Yeah.
You could never find him idling around.
Always doing something.
He always doing something. And if he had something with him, he give you the whole lot, and you will go and try to find a whole lot when there was no whole lot around.
Yeah.
That's how
something special.
How good it is. So when John contacted Christine Harrison, and Christine basically promised that they will talk. You will talk to Bob, Uncle Bob, and yes, they delivered their promise. When John make inquiry, and then they basically said, yes, you're approved.
Yeah.
Your application to Australia will be successful, and we have to go through medical process in Kenya, and of course when we were received by Uncle Bob, wasn't on his in person, in his spirit, in his flesh, So everything that John was doing, talking over the phone over there, Bob was doing the same thing in his flesh. So it was it was a relationship that I don't know how John actually formed. Because his English wasn't the best to find some white woman and be able to talk to. But because John was quite capable, I know John was able to speak a bit of Somali. Yeah. And he worked in Somaliland.
Yeah.
It just unbelievable. He worked in Somaliland. I think he was a true hustler. That's what I think. He was a true hustler of life. He was a live hustler.
Well, when you guys came across, and I think, and I want people listening to this to understand, when you see people that have immigrated, to understand where you've come from, and put themselves in your shoes, what a shock it was. And I laugh, and I'm not laughing at you, I'm laughing with you.
Yeah.
You get on a plane, you're starving because you weren't sure how to eat the food on the plane, like when it was served to you.
Terrible.
And you were too timid to even ask the staff, well, how do you eat? How cold it was. You couldn't believe how cold it was. I think a stopover at Hong Kong, and you'd never seen an Asian person before.
And they actually, from there, this is how funny it was.
Yeah.
Me and Josh, my nephew, were sitting, and then Elizabeth and John.
Yep.
And then an Asian kid that was basically just staring at us. And all of them, they were staring at us. They were just staring.
Yeah.
And the child walked up to John.
Yeah.
And he basically wrapped his skin, his finger on John's skin, and looked whether he's a dirt or not.
Right. Yeah.
Dirt or not.
Yeah.
And it wasn't dirt. And John said, no, that's my skin. That's not a problem. And just getting, we board the plane properly. The food there was awful.
Yep.
I think people should get orientation before they even get there. And they come in plastic, and everything, plastic, nearly everything, and they're all covered.
Yeah.
Our food is not covered. It's cooked.
You sat there staring at it.
Yeah. And we're just staring at it in general. Yeah. And to even open it, it was a hell of a thing. So I just couldn't even comprehend doing anything about it. but it smelled like plastic. There was nothing smelled good there. Elizabeth and I didn't touch it. John knows the trick, so he opened everything and was happy.
Yeah.
He opened, I think, yogurt for Joshua.
Yeah.
Even yogurt, I didn't even know how to and peel the top because it come in a packet. So we were completely hungry, totally hungry. Just us. We were just dying to eat. So the food that we ate is the one that came with no lids on it. So we basically can see as food. And of course, there's seafood there that they shouldn't even put them there from the very beginning because we never saw seafood in our life before.
Right.
Never saw crab. Never saw prawn. Yeah. And they had those one there. So we look at them and they were just a bunch of insects. Yeah. And we couldn't touch insects. When we arrived in Sydney, it was in the morning, about 10 a.m. It got a bit weird because Bob came, pick us up, and got in a car, beautiful car, heater is on, everything was just better than when we were in on a plane, and we drove, and John asked Bob where we were going, and Bob said, "You going to Blacktown," and that's where the first problem began. Now, if anyone remember that we came from a black country, black continent, black everybody, and we didn't know whether there were black people completely. And John, what came into his head was, no, you can't take us to Blacktown. Is that another refugee? You guys put refugees together, or did we just came here to stay with you, Bob, Uncle Bob, or this what John had in mind.
So confusing,
and to call the place Blacktown, it's weird. It's a town and black. It just
did not make sense.
It didn't make sense, but it makes sense in our head completely. That there was another refugee camp. You guys have another refugee camp here in this country.
Stick all the black people in there.
Yeah, you stick them there. And Bob smiled, and he had his beautiful gold teeth, smile, and tell John, no, it's a town.
Yeah.
And we got to Blacktown, and it was exactly a town. There were no other black people there other than ourselves. And if there were anybody that is black, it wasn't blacker than me. Must be the most blackest person in the place. And for us to actually confirm that, it was so important, because otherwise we're not going to accept everything that Bob is going to tell us. If it is red town, we're going to say, oh, that's a red town. If it is Blacktown, we say it's a Blacktown. And the Blacktown story didn't just stop there. Bob took us to McDonald's in the morning at Sono Road. It's at corner of Sono Road and Blacktown Main Street. Opposite it is a TAFE, Blacktown TAFE. That's where I study. The McDonald's there is no longer there now. They put some high-rises in that place. But it is an important place that I remember. I had my first meal there. I had my first shock there. The first thing that shocked me, it was looking at the workers, the employees. They're all wearing uniform. The last time I remember about uniform is when I was in the army.
Right.
So this was kind of confusing for me. Why are they wearing uniform? Are they soldiers? Civilians, soldiers, or what are they doing? And they didn't have any guns, so that was good for me. And plastic chairs that just I haven't seen them before, and they look different and they look beautiful. Slipper is something that I never seen before. Right. So I sat on those plastic chairs. I had my burger come in. The burger was in a paper wrap. I chewed the whole thing with a paper wrap on it.
Chewed the paper.
And start choking. Start choking. Elizabeth gave me some water. John laughed at me. He said, you got to open like this. He should have told me that you got to do that. But he didn't do it. And I held that against him until we got to our apartment. And at our apartment, which is was a Reservoir Road in Blacktown. Our apartment, we basically we were staying on level 2 of apartment, and we went upstairs. We had a TV. First time I'd seen TV. First time I got my room, got my bed, got mattress. I used to sleep on a rock. I told you before that I had my rock. I had that. Even when I was leaving the army, running away, it was a rock. And now I had seeing now cartoon there. Fridge was full of food that we don't even know what to do with it. So the first thing that I did was to drink something, and I pick up a can, put it in the microwave.
Oh, bang.
Yeah, and
blow up?
Blow up, blow up. Don't try it. Try it at distance. Yeah. And then Elizabeth and John think that I was dumb. So until his wife started to cook, because women cook. Yeah. And I didn't know how to cook back then, but I can cook now. Yeah. She started to cook with the gas, and she set the whole place on fire until John came and
had no idea.
Helped her out. And I was like, now that's good. Yeah. Now we're even. I wasn't that stupid after all. So and I would stay in Blacktown for a long time. Reservoir Road, secure apartment, was given to us by Maurice brothers. Yeah, and so I think that won't make a big difference between me and the rest of the Sudanese that came after me.
Right. Okay. Because you would have been one of the
I was cared for. Ones. Yeah, I was cared for. There was family there. There was father Bob. There was mother Christine. Yeah. There was a house. There's a roof over my head, and yes, it wasn't like being cared for by the government or government decided to give me to another family or to be looked after. No. I had a family.
You had your family. You had other people.
And my family, Harrison family, was just a backbone for us to actually integrate in.
I think you make an interesting point there, Deng, because we see, like you see that the Sudanese people that have come and moved to Australia, emigrated to Australia, and they hang out together, and people look and go, well, why don't they? They're not trying to fit into society and that. But it's very hard, isn't it? You come there, and I think one of the I thought it was quite a sweet moment. It was sad to a degree, but when you found a friend that you just saw a person, an African man walking across the road.
Lamin Colley.
Yeah.
Lamin Colley, yes.
It was someone that you could actually hang out with.
Correct.
And communicate with, who understood where you came from. And so I get it.
Yeah, thank you very much for actually mentioning that Mr. Lamin Colley. He's from Gambia. Yeah. He's still working for Woolworths since the time that I met him.
Yep.
That is how good this man is. Yeah. He's just from the time when he started working, putting rag on the woolies, to the point now he's still there. Yeah. The main call is still there, and now he's a manager.
Great work ethic
and just a man. Without him, I would have not met other African there. So Lamin picked me up with his Honda in the street.
Yep.
Just because I'm African and I look fresh. You can tell when somebody just came fresh. And Lamin made me his good friend today. Yeah. And there was no other good friend than Lamin Colley at the time. Now, should I hang out with people that I don't know their language, or the people that are not there to help me out? Yes, I should. Yeah. But Lamin Colley is no different from Jeb Atchison, the police detective.
Yeah, that's actually, another good person that came into your life.
Yeah. And Jeb found me at train station stuck. Yeah. Tried to buy a ticket. And then he entered my life. Yeah. To the point that he bought me my first bike, gave me my first job at BP, get me my loan, my first job loan, mowing loan. This man, he was a stranger.
Yeah.
A cop, all right. Assume people look at cop as bad in general. But this cop here, it's an excellent cop. I would say it is just as good or even greater than my sister who's a cop, or my brother who's a cop, or my half brother who's the whole police commission in the whole of Sudan in general. But this man there, he's input to the point that he introduced me to play soccer with Marshall Sofa, learning. And
that was a big turning point for you too, wasn't it?
Of course, without the discipline, Marshall Sofa is a well-disciplined man.
Yeah. For people that don't know Marshall Sofa, he played soccer for Australia.
Great
captain.
He captained Australia. Yeah.
And he, through the policeman that met you randomly at the railway station, got you playing football with his sons. Yeah. And Marshall came into your life as well.
Correct, yeah. And the same thing with Lamine Colley. What attracted me. What attracted Lamine Colley, it was because I'm African.
Yeah.
What attracted Jeff, it was almost, I need to help this kid because he's just standing there. So, yes, there are, without, I'm just telling you, without these random people that came into my life like that, I don't think I could have even be in this position, because where would I find Marshall Sofa? Where would I find Jeb Aitchison? Or Lamine Colley, who's still my best friend to date.
You could have been ostracised and possibly gone down the wrong track.
Yes.
And
exactly. So I hang around with Macedonian, with Greeks, and even play like because I hang with somebody that I know.
Yes.
African don't just want to hang around with people that they don't know.
Yeah.
Especially Sudanese, they smile a lot.
Yep.
We smile better than any other person that you could ever imagine. And we laugh a lot.
Yeah.
But our laugh is cheer. It's comic. It's cheer between one another as well. Other community will not even understand our closeness. But what actually got us together is, especially the young one, is look at the way education is structured.
Yeah.
It's not structured to help our children succeed in general.
Mm-hmm.
So when they go to school, they don't understand what's going on, the process, and nobody is there to give them how language work in general, and be able to point them in the right direction. Their homework, nobody assists them because the parent don't have that skill.
How to do it themselves.
Yes. Yeah. So they're always behind because nobody is giving them guides. When they're behind and they can't do well, that's when they start to show no interest in the school. And these are not just one person who was almost a scale in the whole community.
It makes sense.
Yes. And they end up sticking with one another because they can understand what's going on between themselves. Yeah. But they don't understand the other person or whatever you've been taught at school. So that's what bring them together.
Yeah.
And other people then perceive it to say, oh, these are just a bunch of criminal gangsters, kids. They're kids that have not received help like I did.
Yeah.
If they did receive help like me, I think they will be like ball, they will be like ball running an Olympic trip.
Yeah. Or last night.
Yeah, and doing excellent. Or be like Ton Maker playing basketball there.
Yeah.
But they don't have that. They haven't been given that chance. Sometimes they even look at themselves like they're stupid because they don't understand.
It's a cycle that they can fall into.
Yes.
You would see that because jumping forward, this is another huge part of your life, but the way that you got your education, you got yourself a law degree, and you're now practicing as a defence solicitor in the criminal courts. You would see a lot of kids that, if they had just one person like you had, people come into your life, can make such a difference.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And for me, I was lucky. My nephew, Joshua, was 2 when he came here. My brother, when he was going to work, he was older than me, so I don't have a relationship with him.
Yeah.
My sister-in-law, I just don't, because she's a woman.
Yeah.
I don't have that. I don't have it. But my nephew and Wiggle.
The Wiggles. Yeah.
Were basically my best friend at the time. My nephew is not there to make me feel bad or feel stupid.
So you can hang out with...
I can hang around while we're actually watching Wiggle repeat every word for word, line by line. And from there, yes, I managed to be able to be a Wiggle, what do you call it? Parrot.
So that taught you the English?
Through Wiggles.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wiggles, I recommend Wiggle anytime because it's clear for a mind.
Who was your favourite Wiggle?
All of them. Come on.
You can't choose.
But come on, I just can't. I can't. I even bought a red car. My red car.
All right.
My first car, big red car, is right there with Wiggle, and of course I wear a lot of hats.
I was going to speak to you about your wardrobe, like in researching for this, and I've seen you over the years. A lot of people know what you've done and what you've achieved, and you're always very smartly dressed, and that's something that you've bought from where you grew up, about the way that you present that.
Back in Africa, I would have had my beards, my shield, my ivory necklace, my ivory, everything ivory in my hand.
Looking smart.
Yeah, I look that good. My hair will be done a different style. I will wear ostrich feathers top of my head.
Yep.
I will have a bulls that I have at well bred. That will cost me at least 10 cow to swap.
Yeah.
Yeah. One bull, 10 cow to swap with.
Okay.
I will have that. But I'll be just like my father.
Yeah.
Just like that.
Yeah.
But in sense of my dress is when you look at Wiggles, okay?
Yeah.
Just look how they dress.
Yeah.
You can modify your own how you can dress, but the hat definitely came from Wiggle.
Okay.
My suit, even 3-piece.
Yeah.
You can see that from Wiggle.
Yeah.
So yes, that's my childhood memory about Australia, how the child grew. So you can, my reference would be just go to Wiggle, nothing else. Yeah.
And that's how I got there. You experienced you growing up in Australia, even though you came here. You were 14 at the time that you came here.
Mm.
Yeah. The other thing that you've talked about is that you didn't get the rite of passage from growing up in the village to manhood. Do you want to explain that and how that's impacted on you, but also how you've come to terms with it?
In my culture, my tribe, no boy is allowed to have a child. If you're not initiated, go through a rite of passage, you cannot have a child. You're not a man. You have to be trained to be a man. And it's a long process. But if there is any college that say you got to train a man to become man, to behave like men, and then that is the college that I would prefer to be in, rather than going to a general school that I know of. Because it's about a man behavior in general. That's what makes a difference in the world. It's what we do as men. Yeah. That's what contribute to society as good or bad. So for me, I haven't went through that passage. I haven't achieved that. That passage, it teach you how to treat a woman. It teach you, for example, you never see a Dinka man walking in the street eating food in the street. He will never eat food in the street. You will never see a Dinka man drinking water in the street just randomly. So he must sit down and he must wait. You can't ask. There's no ask. You can't even get in the kitchen. You could die without asking for food. And the respect for food begins from there. And no man can actually talk about food. You never talk about food. Food, you leave it with the women in their hand. And food, that's the beginning. That's the beginning. Even when you are initiated, food is involved. Food is blessed.
Yeah.
And of course, food is blessed. Before you even eat, you put something in your mouth. You gotta take a pinch.
Yep.
And give it to the ancestors on the ground. So before you even put it in your mouth.
Okay.
So there is mindfulness of that process of manhood there. And of course, be trained how to use weapon. These are all part of the man.
That rite of passage.
Rite of passage. I haven't got there.
Yeah.
I haven't got there. So I'm just learning a hard way of asking people. But there are people that are trained to become men. And I've seen them when I went back to South Sudan. Some of my nephew. And they are greatest men you could ever imagine because they're young men and you see their behavior just gradually change as they move. And for me to look at that, I just feel like that part is actually it's missing.
Stolen from you.
It's stolen. It's stolen because how would I approach a woman? Because a woman will never approach a man.
Yeah.
In my culture, it was only a man that will go and talk to a woman. If you're interested in marrying a woman, no girl would. But now we can do it with every tool we have in our hand. Now we can do it quickly.
Yeah.
But it's hard, so you got to be trained with language too, how to speak. Haven't went through that process of being taught how to speak because speaking is very important to Dinka people, and even remembering songs or what song need to be sung on a particular occasion. I never went through that.
Yeah.
So it's a missing gap, and it's a gap that I think every Sudanese child, especially the Dinka that I hear, they should actually go through that process because there's nothing better than that process to realize that you are a man now. You're not a boy. You have responsibilities attached to you, and
I can see how it's important, how important it is to you, just when you talk about it. But you've, for a country that you've emigrated to, 2017, nominated as New South Wales Australian of the Year.
Yeah.
That is a big deal. How did that feel personally? Like that's
those are those are small. I have a list of things that I normally mention, just so that I can be within. I could be on the same ground as those men that I initiated in general. I look at, I've been in war, I fought in a war like a man.
Yep.
I haven't, when I was shot, I never cried. I cried twice in my life, never cried with all the injuries in my body. I cried twice in my life, and that is it. And I don't know, I look for a third time to cry, but those are things that that really bothered me. For example, how did I know that it's not good to cry?
Yeah.
Because men don't cry in my tribe.
Yep.
Men don't cry. But I cried, and I learned how to not to cry, and I got a degree. I got a master's degree. I got Australian of the Year. I got Law Society President Medal. I do have other things that I can mention. I have children. So if you look at all those things that I have actually mentioned, they mirror somehow the manhood.
Yeah.
The manhood that I actually become somehow a man, but it doesn't completely divorce me from thinking that I'm actually not a man. I'm not completely, I haven't completely
That's
reach that.
Hard baggage to carry.
It is hard baggage. I know I've done all those things that I mentioned.
Yeah.
They're done by men, and war is fought by men. So I know I graduated from there. But it is a simple process, like a ceremonial process, which is very important. That I think I'm missing that. And a ceremony is important because that's where you can say, yes, I'm a man. But it doesn't mean that I'm not going to be... I'll be initiated one day. I'm not kidding. Even though, even if I'm 50 and I have an opportunity to be initiated, I have to go through because according to our culture, when somebody insults you, it's to call you a boy.
Right.
Or insult your child, a boy. It nothing worse than that. It basically means you're a boy, you're behaving like a boy all your life, and it's harder insult than any other insult you could ever have.
Yeah.
So it's hanging in my head. I'm never gonna get it out of my head until I am confident enough that no man will ever call me or call my child a child of a boy, not a man that went through that process. So it's in my head, but I will remove it. I'll remove it through ceremonial process.
I wouldn't doubt you what you've achieved so far.
Yeah.
There's a sad part in your life, and we've talked so highly about John, but John lost his life. He went back to Somalia and Sudan. What saddens me about John's experience over here, and I know that's come across in speaking to you about it, is that he got an education too, but found it very difficult to convert that education into employment where his skills. And we've talked about what an exceptional man he is, and he couldn't find gainful employment over here, which is quite sad. A country that accepted him but rejects him in that way. He found his way back to the Sudan, and then he lost his life over there. Do you want to tell us about that situation?
Yeah, actually, John, when he left here, he left with pretty much for nothing, just being agitated. The fact that he's well educated. Got degrees, even postgraduate in Geneva. Only man that been to Somali, that had from South Sudan, they've been to Somali, work in Somali in Hargeisa, and got himself even to Geneva and get himself that diploma. Work here, settle a lot of Sudanese in Blacktown in general, and a lot of people that came to Blacktown and Western Sydney is because of my brother.
Yeah,
anyone can say whatever they want. But my brother sponsored a lot of them to come down there. And so he felt like he was doing a lot of good job. But you see, racism it's alive in Australia. It's alive.
Yeah.
It's I can breathe it in every time I actually look at our federal parliament. Every time it's just crazy. So John left for that reason, and John went ahead and made a good living out of himself. He died with owning a small jet airline. He owned that. John died when he actually bought the land and registered the University of Jonglei under his name. He founded that University of Jonglei in the South Sudan. He founded that.
Okay.
He died. He founded a school also where he is buried, and you can see that on his grave. Those are schools that he owned. So within few years after his skill was basically deemed not something wanted, John went ahead and did 10 times better than anyone that had a better skill here within a few years.
It's sad, isn't it, that Australia rejected him?
Yeah, I can't say it was Australia because the employee the employees were responsible for that, and they had a preference. And I'm not going to say which preference they want.
Yeah.
I don't do that. That's not my preference at work.
Yeah.
My work principle is simply, I don't need to see your bloody resume, because I know when I used to say in my resumes, the machine used to reply to me, say, we have received your resume. Unfortunately, you're not successful. Well, machine who's talking to me. So now, if you come to me, you send your resume, I don't need to look at it. When you knock at the door and you said, I need a job.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're the man without a resume. That's the person that I prefer to have a job than anybody that is qualified.
Yeah.
Because I don't care. If you are overqualified, you were good at what you do, and then you shouldn't be here.
Yeah.
You should be somewhere else. So it's about giving somebody a chance, somebody who haven't been given that platform.
Yeah.
That is what matters, and that is why I feel bad about John, about his death, because he gave me the platform. You give other people the platform, and that is how I look at it. It's not about you had 10 job experience. Yeah. What about the person that didn't have a job? Okay, he needed that person. You love your job.
Yeah.
And now you want to get a job for my company? No, you're not getting that. I give a job to those who are actually rejected at initial contact with the company employees. When they are rejected because they have zero experience, these are the people that
they're the ones who want to give.
I take them on
experience,
and then be able to move on with their life. And I'm not nobody boss, and that's how I work. Look like. But nowadays, everybody want to be a boss. That is a problem.
that is. We could do a whole nother podcast about that. That's too much of a problem. The John Mack Foundation, that's still up and running, and
it is.
Yeah,
it is.
Can I just read something out that because I think it reflects what John's life was about.
Yep.
So, the John Mack Foundation aims to address some of the problems that held John back during his life. Through our scholarship fund, we assist people from refugee backgrounds make a successful transition from education into meaningful employment. We currently have 5 scholarship recipients who are talented, hardworking individuals who have benefited greatly as a result of receiving the scholarships. So it's pretty simple stuff, but good stuff, isn't it, to help people along those lines?
It is, and not only that. One of the guy, and I wish Judith Preston was here, or Sarah Pritchett, Senior Counsel were here. They could have actually tell you about the work that we did. But I'm going to give you a simple example. There's a gentleman, one of the recipients of John Mack Foundation. He's engineer. He's actually building the tunnels. The tunnel underneath now. He's actually building them.
Right.
That how proud I am. That how great I am. And this guy was from Afghanistan. Muslim.
Yeah.
You can see that from those people that hate Muslim or hate Afghan when they don't even know them.
Yep.
And this guy, it made me feel so happy because he didn't. He's a smart kid, but he didn't have support. Like, if you don't have a support, there's no way you're going. He was getting failed, and he basically failing all his classes. And after we pick his hand up, he got his ADs, and now he's a manager. Running, building a tunnel in Australia. Okay, if they're building tunnel for Australia, for New South Wales, at least I done something a little bit. I did something, and John did something. That's how I look at it.
Deng, there's so many stories out there like that, isn't there? And we don't see it. We see the negative side of things, and you probably see it working through the criminal courts, and people will be going, "Oh, this person, that's because they're like that. They always do this." And
correct. Yeah.
We just misunderstand it, and there is so many impressive stories. How have you found working with law, like? Because I would sense what you've been through. You'd have a real strong sense of justice.
Yes, I do. I just, to be honest with you, the way the law is taught, it teaches us how to how to lose our emotional intelligence in general. We become almost like robots. And
I don't generally like solicitors, but I like the way where this is heading.
Yeah. And for me, look, it's hard for African men to practice law, believe me. And for me to even survive today to practice law is a miracle. There are a lot of hurdles on the road there, even sometimes from bad prosecutors or bad lawyers or bad magistrates or bad judges that basically want to instigate something out of nowhere because of my African background. I do suffer a lot of, sometimes I just have to turn into my corner and cry because there's no other, what's the best way to settle this issue? It's for me to cry because I don't think that person was fair in saying things to me or doing things to me or doing something to my client or accusing me of something that never even took place. And I do remember representing Sudanese guy. I was speaking my language.
Yeah.
And a prosecutor went and made up rubbish before the court, and that she heard us speaking in our language. I hear us speaking.
So you're not allowed to speak in your language.
Yeah, but she want to make up a story that didn't even exist, and I was like, how did I hear these things? First of all, I speak Dinka, and I speak good Dinka, not the street Dinka.
Yeah.
That means I'll be clear in everything that I said. It's not a slang. A slang, maybe you say, what did he say? But I was clear in my language. I was speaking to one person, and that is Sudanese leader that actually speak here the minimum English language. It's how did he hear what we said and you translate it perfectly into and I was in a conference with this guy for a good 15 minutes. And how did you decipher this? You must be, you should take my position as a speaker there. But no, not because of she went and make up stories, because there are a lot of stories that can be made up. And sometimes my community is an easy target for any story or anyone to spit their guts around, or to accuse, and I recognize that. I recognize that's not something that I can get rid of at the moment. It takes time. It takes somebody, the same person, courage to be able to look in the mirror and see whether whatever they're doing is wrong. Because I know between right and wrong. I've been in the army since I was a child. Nobody can teach me at this stage of my life that X is Y, when I know really X is X. Yeah, I know the threshold of truth. I know what it takes to tell the truth, and I know what it takes to lie. So for me, I don't have a room. I don't have a room for that. But there are people that deliberately do things, bad things. Look. Sometimes when you speak about your community, speak out. Sometimes it backfires. Something can backfire, and even though it's not the way
it was intended.
So there are certain things there that need to be hammered out in order for community to move in different direction. But all I'm saying is, I don't think I get treated any different from the rest of the Sudanese kids in the street. It's just when I put on my suit, put on my hat, that's when I actually become a little bit different from the rest. But the moment I'm just wearing my local clothes or a normal person, I'm 100% the target.
Look, Deng, I know what you're talking about, and you've been very diplomatic about it, but it's this unspoken thing that, Australia, we're not a racist country. Well, bullshit. there is racism in this country, and it's quite often born from ignorance. And I think what you're saying there is when you're dressed up as a suit and you're carrying the prestige of being a solicitor, people look at you differently. But if you're just wearing your street clothes, normal clothes, they're going, there's one of those Sudanese boys.
Not even a dress sometimes. Even a dress sometimes is nothing. I had an incident where I got threatened by a judge to lock me up because he didn't believe that I was a lawyer.
Yeah.
I didn't say anything other than say, my name is Deng Adut, Mr. Adut, for the record, and I appear for the client. So I already mentioned that. Yeah. But to threaten that, to lock me up for a contempt, and to say that, to even go, you Sudanese treat women like property, just directly, to me, a conversation that I have no intellectual purpose at all. Sometimes I get to the point that where I just said, I have no answer to it. Maybe that person have answer to it. So yeah, there are a lot of issues, but it's good not to burn your bridges that you have built. I know I have a lot of friends, a lot of family, a lot of brothers, a lot of cousins I have that are white like hell, if you call it, or cousins that are black like hell that are there. And all these cousins and relatives that I surrounded myself with, their value is more important than those few people that try to play around on my head. I think I do have bigger. I'm a bigger man in general. I'm a bigger man. I have a bigger. I have a bigger family. I have a bigger family. The person that is targeting me is the one without a bigger family. That's
a very sensible way to look at things. And
Australia is my big family. So those 2, 3, 4, 5.
Don't let them change your opinion. But look, we're running out of time. That we could talk about your journeys, your experiences all over the place, and we might speak down the track because I'd like to. We haven't even. It's called I Catch Killers. We haven't even delved into the world. I wanted to really tax your brain as a defence solicitor and all that, but we might save that conversation for another time. But what I'm hoping people get from this, and certainly your book and everything, the way that you present yourself, people understand that life is full of complexities, and you've seen life from sides that most people don't get to see. And here you are as part of our country, and you're a role model. That's why you didn't get that award. They don't hand out the award as Australian of the Year for lightly. So people are seen, and you are making a difference. And we started off this podcast talking about songs and the importance of songs. I don't know. The way I look at it, your book is your song. You're telling your story, and what you're doing here is your song. So you've got a story to tell, and you tell it very well. So good stuff.
Thank you for having me. And I hope there will be a version of the books, and that version of the book will allow every child to actually look at the book and glance at the weapon that's next to them or scissors, and the weapon will disappear, and the book will be only thing in their hands. No more weapons. So that's the aim in my life. If I find a child one day that is willing to take it this far, because I know there will be children, Ukrainian children, they will be next in telling this story, and I don't think the world is ready for them to actually tell the story about what happened to them. So let's just say, let's give lethal aid, but these children, they'll be able to tell us exactly what that lethal aid has actually done to them.
Well, you made that point in a conversation we had the other day that people were putting AK-47s into your hands, and look what you were doing with that. So
secondhand. Don't even know how many people they killed.
So when we're aiding people, there's consequences. Put weapons, and there's no good that comes from war, and that's probably a good way to finish our chat. So
thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you very much.
Cheers.